may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor. This is
Hello.
a case of Connally versus Harrison.
Thank you, Jerome.
You're welcome.
Good day, everyone. Ms. Connally, you are here today to petition the court for a paternity test for your 23-year-old daughter, Artisha Connally.
Yes.
You say that you were sleeping with another man during the time Artisha was conceived, and after 23 years, you still don't know for sure if Mr. Harrison is your daughter's biological father. Now, Mr. Harrison, you argue that during the period of conception, you and Ms. Connally only had sex one time, and you even caught her with another man. So, Ms. Connally, tell us about what it was like growing up without a father.
Well, Judge, it's a horrible feeling. I really wish this feeling on no other young woman in the world. I've experienced feelings of abandonment. I've been lonely. I've never had a lot of friends. I've only kept about 2 or 3 friends. And on the top of that, people didn't like me, and I've always wondered, why is it that this person doesn't want to be involved with me? And then I have to deal with the reality of my own father, who's alive and well, not in jail, not dead, not in another state. He's living in the same state and has not tried to contact me, doesn't want to be around me. That hurts. And I just want answers, because he's in the same state and he's taking care of other kids. And he's taking care of other kids that are not even his.
Mr. Harrison, is this true what she contends? You have obviously doubt that she's
Yes,
your
Your
daughter.
Honor. I had my doubt down through the years. In spite of the fact of my doubt, I should have and could have done a better job, but I didn't.
Explain to the court your doubt. Where did your doubt begin?
Well, when we met, we had a relationship, and one daughter was born, and at the time, she said, well, that's not your child.
But it wasn't your child.
Right, so I just kept on.
It was proven to be so.
Right, well, no, it wasn't proven. She said it wasn't mine, so I took her word for it. And as we kept progressing, she got pregnant again with Artisha, and I thought it was my child, so I stayed with her and tried to do the right thing.
You had one child, your first child. He thought it was his, but it wasn't.
Yes.
Then when the second child came along, Artisha, he thought she was at first, and then doubt began to set in. Were you certain Mr. Harrison was Artisha's father?
No, I wasn't, because at that time, I'm ashamed of myself, because I was living a fast life. I was a party girl, like, you know, when I used to go out a lot, I used to sell drugs, hang in the street, party, this party animal. And at that time, Linda came in my life. I was walking down the street, he was driving down the street, and he picked me up, like, you know, like I was a trick or something, you know, like he was looking for some fun or something. At the time, we exchanged numbers, you know, and he gave me some money. And then through the years, he romanced me. He picked me up from work, brought me flowers, just picked me up. So, I mean, it was a little romance. So, you know, as me being the woman that I am, I was like, okay, I found a Bama type guy. You know, he's trying to do something with me, so I might as well go ahead and deal with this, you know, because he was giving me money, you know, taking me places, you know, giving me all his money.
So it seems like he was courting you.
Yeah, he was trying to court me, yeah. Yeah.
Wanted to be in a relationship.
Yes, yes.
So what happens when you have this first child?
Okay.
It's not his.
At that time, Your Honor, we were we got married. We moved in an apartment together, and at that point, then it was kind of like, you know, he was a Bama. He was a country person. You know, he went to church. He stayed in church a lot, and I was just used to hanging out in the streets. So, you know, me and my girlfriends, you know, we would go out, and I was a little promiscuous, you know, fast. And I did have someone else that I was, you know, having sexual intercourse with, and I got pregnant with my oldest child, and come to find out that, you know, it wasn't his child.
All right. But somehow you all stayed together.
Yeah, we stayed together, and, you know, because I tried to be a good wife, you know, I was, you know, still selling drugs, doing things that I was, you know, out in the street, partying, having fun. Then they would go to work, come home. I was a good person. You know, I'll be there, you know, take care of the kids. When my girlfriend come around, you know, he'll babysit, or I take the baby to my mom, and we'll go out. Because he was born. He was a Bama.
When you have Artisha, are you saying to yourself in your mind at the time, I hope this doesn't happen again. I've had one child and it's not his. What if is Artisha's his? Like, are you concerned? Are you questioning?
I'm questioning because at that
Well,
point,
she never stayed home.
I
as
never
well,
was in the house.
no.
I got locked up. I had Artisha in prison.
Gotcha.
I was still hanging out in the
And
streets.
before that, were you with many different men or just one other man besides Mr. Harrison?
Several.
Several. Okay.
But my point is that I think 23 years, if they're asking the question, why now, why not now? But I think this could have stopped a long time ago. She would have went to court and asked for child support. That would have solved all this right then and
She
there.
said she did. She
I
couldn't
did.
find you.
I did. I've been
She never took me to court and asked for
Several
child support.
Nobody could
So, I
find
mean, if
you.
you- if-
You're always gone.
Besides
You're
the point,
disappeared.
it ain't your job to find me. The law
The
will
law
find
Well,
me.
I found you
If
If
now.
I'm guilty, the law will find me. They'll bring me to justice.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
But she never took that upon her effort. It's 23 years later. She
Excuse
could have nipped out that child 1 year old. She could have went to court and gave them my
Oh,
address
you
and gave
coulda
them
did it
everything
too.
she
How
needed.
dare
They could
you
have
right
found me
now?
right
How
there.
dare you right now say
So
that you coulda did it?
you're
You had to say-
saying your point is, Mr. Harrison, that adds credence to your doubt
That's
because
correct, but
you're
she-
saying if you felt I was the father or possibly the
Right.
father, then why wouldn't you
She should
go
have stopped that
down
long time ago.
and go to
child
the
support would have
courts
stopped
and
that.
request child support, and then they would have found
That's
me?
correct.
And we would have had a DNA test 20-something
That's
years ago.
correct, that's
So
correct.
because that didn't happen, in your mind, you began to doubt even more.
Right.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Ms. Connally, you're saying that this is incorrect. You did ask for support.
Yes, but let me explain to you. I was
Yes.
in prison. My mom and my dad had my children. So my mom, she
grandparents
was
took
getting
care of
public
me.
assistance. The court was trying to find them. They couldn't find him because if you want public assistance, they automatically try to get you public child support. We'll try to find them.
So your mother had the court trying to find him, but they could not find him.
right, no.
But you also state that you were sleeping with different men during that time. Were they going after the other men as well?
Lyndon Harrison.
They found
my
me on the
mother
third
was looking
child.
for Lyndon Harrison.
And
because
why
at
is
time,
that?
Lyndon
Did
was
your
my husband.
mother say she has slept with multiple men? So I'm not quite sure. She gave them his name.
Yeah, well, put it this way. I didn't
She took
give
me
her
to
his
court
name.
for the third child, which wasn't mine,
never-
and
Oh,
the judge
stop
told me I
lying.
was free to go.
He's lying because
I'm the
I don't
third
have a
child.
reason to lie.
she's the third child. My oldest son is 33 years old. His father's taking care of him all his life.
Well, her
My
son-
second child, he thought that
He
was
wasn't,
his.
and it wasn't.
It's not. This is the third child, our Tisha, who we've been trying to look for him. My mom's been looking for him all through the years. When Tisha was born, all through the baby, the pictures, this is the only picture that she has with him since she was a baby. She hasn't seen him no more than 5 times through her entire life.
My first semester at college, that's when I met him. That's when I first spent time with him. It was weird. He was trying to be a father, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I just turned 18. I'm about to go party. And I guess because of our little outing, our relationship, our time spent together, it wasn't great. So we went our separate ways, and he didn't try to contact me. People tell me all the time they see him on the avenue. I said, okay, well, I'm going to go over there and look for him. I took it upon myself to go to the liquor store where on the avenue where they say they always see him. I went there for 2 years looking for him. And you want to know how I found him? I was sitting at the bus stop, and I saw him walking past me.
And what did he say?
And what happened?
I said, excuse me, I've been looking for you. He said, who you?
That's what he would say.
I said, it's your Artisha.
That's correct.
You didn't
I
recognize
didn't
it.
recognize her.
Do you understand the root of his doubt, where it comes from?
Yes, I do, but it takes two. It takes two people to have a child. And if he had doubts, he should have tried himself. You can't just blame it on her.
I'm not even talking about blame. I'm talking about doubt. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Do you get where
I
his doubt originates from?
Yes, I understand, but I still felt like you shouldn't have did that shady behavior towards me. As a young woman, as a young girl growing up, and I'm getting this type of behavior thrown at me, I should have been explained. Like, they should have explained it to me. I would have took it. I would have been able to handle it. But I didn't know, and I'm living this story tale of my mother and my mother and father, they were married when they had me, thinking they were in love, when obviously as I'm growing up, it's not the case, and he doesn't even want to be around.
My mother told me when I was 21, my father, who I thought was my father all my life, that he wasn't my father. And I was hurt. So I can feel her pain too.
So today is about breaking cycles and ensuring that this does not happen in yet another generation.
I feel real bad for my daughter. It's a generation. I know. I feel bad for my daughter. I do. I feel
I
bad.
agree, Your Honor, because I think we both owe her apology. Like I said, I'm ashamed for the last 23 years. And if it is my daughter, then I ask God himself to forgive me.
And I'm not just gonna put the blame all on him because she didn't really want to help me.
We
find
both
him.
owe
I
her
had
an
to do it on
apology.
my own. I understand
I didn't know
what
where
they've
he
been.
was.
I commend her
tried to
courage.
find
You didn't
My
try
divorce.
hard enough.
What am I gonna find him for?
I
I
found
tried to
him.
find him to get my divorce, and I found him when I got my divorce. But I tried to. I told you I couldn't find him. The
Yeah.
court found him for real.
And then honestly,
landlord tenant court.
Well, you know, Miss Connally, I have to say this. You found him when you wanted to get your divorce. So
Well,
maybe you
actually-
could have helped find him a little sooner for your daughter.
Well,
So this situation
Right,
could be
because it's for her
resolved
benefit.
earlier. I think you have to take
earlier,
some
okay,
responsibility.
I tried to find him. I could not find him. That's when I was trying to find my divorce.
But I think at some point you have to take responsibility that you had a hand to play in this. Whether it was sleeping with multiple men at the same time where you are not sure who her father is, or just not taking the proper steps sooner so that maybe they could be reunited, or maybe you could have a test, or what have you. I
tried
hear
to
Mr.
find him.
Harrison just flat out apologizing and saying, I'm ashamed of what I've done, and if this is my daughter, I just hope.
Lyndon knew when my mother lived there. He could have came around.
And he just said, he's standing here saying, I am ashamed at the way what I've done.
Okay, and I'm ashamed of myself of what I've done, but I grow out of that because I've been a better person. I don't use drugs anymore. I raised my kids. I worked.
That's wonderful.
Okay, I'm not that bad of a
However,
person. I tried to find him for her, but I couldn't find him. I couldn't find him. Only way I found him, I got my divorce through landlord tenant court.
Mr. Harrison, do you want Artisha to be your daughter?
More than anything in the world.
Praise the Lord. How he
Because
did-
of one thing,
religious on
it doesn't matter what happened now. All the shadow things won't matter.
Hallelujah.
It doesn't matter what anybody says. These are all God's children. Those children belong to God. They didn't ask to be here. Those are God's children we are playing with. She didn't ask to be here.
No, she did
And
not.
if I'm wrong, I ask God himself to forgive me. Whether I am or whether I'm not, I commend that effort of being here.
I can see where you get the preacher
Miss
from.
Connally, your hope?
Even though I found them, I tried to spend time with him. He blew me off, and that's something that I don't like. That's what I deal with current relationships with men, so that's how it kind of relates the situation with all relationships. I didn't like that. I told him to meet me at my job. He knew where I worked at. I told him when we first met at the bus stop, he said, I'm gonna come down there and I'm gonna see you. He didn't come. I called him 7 times, and then I texted him, and I said, you know what, don't even come. Don't even bother coming, because I left. He didn't respond. And then I called him the next day, and I said, can you come see me at my job? And he didn't. I said, if you don't come, I'm going to be angry. He said, don't get angry. I said, no, I'm going to be angry if you do not come.
And
And
the
he was
last
like, all
thing-
right, I'll come. Let me finish. He said, all right, I'll come. So he didn't come. And I called him, and he don't answer. He flakes again. So I called him. I'm on the bus. I'm off of work. I said, where you live at? I'm about to come and see you. He said, hold on. Let me ask my lady. I said, what does that have to do with anything? Give me your address. He won't give me his address. He said, I'm going to call you back. He never called me back, and I called him back, and he didn't answer the phone.
So ultimately today, you want to
I just
find
wanna
out,
know
you
if he
want to
is.
know if
I
he's
want to
your-
know. I want to know.
Are you
because
hoping that he's your father?
If I am, I'm hoping that he is, because I wouldn't know who is. If he's
How
not.
about you, Miss Connally?
Yeah.
What are you hoping for?
I hope he is the father, so I don't have to keep searching for him.
Ask her what I said to her when she called me the last phone call.
Who?
Our teacher, I said, call your mama.
Call my mother.
I said, I want to talk to her.
No,
I
you
said, we
didn't.
need to set this
Okay,
record straight right
okay.
then and there.
This
I
is
said,
what
I want a DNA test.
Well, I'll
That's what
tell
I
you
told
what.
her.
Okay, this is what
We
happened.
can set the record straight right here, right now, Jerome. The results.
And then if you are, what you gonna do?
As I said, I asked God
What
himself
you gonna do about
to
the
forgive
23
me.
years that you ain't been there?
I can't live in the past.
Yeah, well, okay.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Connally versus Harrison, when it comes to 23-year-old Artisha Connally. Mr. Harrison, you are her father.
Congratulations. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well,
I never introduced her into my family for my doubt. I let my doubt get the best of me.
Miss Connally, how do you feel?
I mean, should have done this a long time ago.
well, it's really been hard for Artisha. It has, because her self-esteem was low, but she has got out of it. That's why she's been in college, gone to college for 5 years, and she made homecoming queen. And, you know, she ran for Miss Texas Southern University. So she's really been, you know, a real inspiration for me, you know, because she's gone from that little shy girl to now this beautiful woman
A
right
beauty
now.
queen.
Beautiful. And you know, you said she's been an inspiration for you.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what this court is all about. It's about inspiring people to leave this courtroom better than they came in.
Yes.
Now, you came in, Miss Connally, and you didn't know the truth for certain.
Yeah.
But now you do.
Yeah.
Mr. Harrison has apologized in front of this entire courtroom. He acknowledges his fault. I am hoping that you will begin to honor promises that you've made here today.
That's correct.
Are we clear?
Yes.
Court is adjourned.
I'm going to spend more time with my father, get more deep into the theater, and just focus on my career.
After leaving Paternity Court, I hope it's develop a relationship with my daughter and introduce her to my whole 13 sisters and brothers.